Alright, welcome back everybody. Today we're going to talk about why you need to get a job before medical school. One of the most common criticisms of the medical school application process is that it tends to attract more affluent people because they have more access to resources for study materials, application fees, and the whole host of costs related to the process of getting in. Now this is certainly true based on numbers alone, but it has further implications down the road. Not all, but most medical students have been students their whole lives and they've never held jobs. Most of their extracurricular work is medical school related, and they miss out on the development that comes from having a job. Now, of course, the pre-med years are very busy and time is of the essence, and you should never fill up this limited time with things that take away from your GPA, MCAT, and other medical school related pursuits. However, if you do have some extra time, and you should if you're studying properly, we feel that you really need to get a part-time job. Now, I worked at Starbucks for about 3 years of college and 1 year at American Eagle. Now, these jobs obviously had nothing to do with medicine, and yet here I am. Although I didn't really enjoy either job, they didn't pay me well. They taught me a lot of intangibles that are extremely valuable in pre-med, in medical school, and as a doctor. So let's go over the reasons that we feel that you need to get a job before med school. The first thing is that you learn to do things that you don't want to do. In any endeavor, all we see is the final product. We see a bodybuilder on stage or a basketball player on the court. We see a surgeon in the OR. What we don't see is the behind the scenes work that it took to get there. Especially in this instant gratification social media world, we're used to seeing things as if they come so easy and feel as though we're entitled to them. But this behind the scenes work is exactly what puts those people in those positions. Having a job that has nothing to do with your future teaches you the ability to do mundane tasks that you have no interest in to the best of your ability over a long period of time. No matter how passionate you are about medicine, this is at least 70% of that process as well. We all like being with patients and helping them, but no one likes memorizing tons of information and taking exams. But this exact ability to focus on things and do things that you don't like is what gives you the chance to do what you enjoy. So if you can find a job you love, that's even better, but don't discount the value of working at a coffee shop or doing retail or something similar. You're going to learn a lot of lessons that can be applied to medical school and medicine in general. Now, the second and one of the most important things you're going to pick up is the ability to work with people. If you didn't already know, patients are people, as well as nurses, administrative staff, other doctors, janitors, and everyone else that you're going to cross paths with in the hospital. The reality is that you'll really like some of these people, be neutral with most of them, and really dislike a minority of these people as well. Regardless of how you feel about them though, you will have to work with them in a respectful, synergistic way so you can fulfill your duties as a doctor. Now, a part-time job, especially something like Starbucks or retail, is going to teach you these communication skills and above all, patience at an accelerated speed. Learning to deal with certain customers and their absurd demands while remaining professional and courteous is really an art. It's an art that can be carried over into dealing with difficult patients, their families, or even other colleagues. You have to learn how to be good at communicating with people, whether you like them or not, agree with them or not, and the only way to get better at it is by doing it. Social development is a very important aspect of being a good medical student and applicant, and it's better to develop these skills early on rather than trying to start later. Now, the next thing you'll learn is time management. Adding a part-time job to your pre-med plate might take up some time, but it forces you to be better and more efficient with your time and balance the tasks that you have to get done. Even within your job, you're going to learn how to balance multiple tasks at once and getting things done before your boss gets upset. You'll learn how to navigate a professional environment and how to act within it. Dealing with customers while also doing cleanup or stocking is going to teach you the foundations of juggling multiple things while the stakes are low. And these same foundations and skills are going to come in handy during an 80-hour work week in residency while you're trying to balance patients and somewhat of a social or family life. Or when you're in med school doing coursework and making time for extracurriculars as well as friends and hobbies. Another thing you'll learn is getting used to hierarchies. In the first 2 years of medical school, you're in the classroom. In the next 2 years, you're in the hospital. So when medical students come to the hospital as third years, they have a reputation for being entitled and, for lack of a better word, soft. Now this is not entirely their fault, but like we said, most med students have not held jobs before, and the only feedback most of them have been exposed to is grades from school. Obviously these people are very smart and used to doing well at whatever they pursue, so now when they're in an environment where they literally know nothing, and they're basically constantly in the way, it can be very uncomfortable. So you go from being praised all your life for being smart to being criticized, sometimes unfairly, about things you didn't do right or your lack of knowledge. It can be a shock to the system. Having a job early on teaches you how to navigate a professional hierarchy, and the fact that sometimes, even though you may not like what your superior has to say, sometimes it's best to just bite your tongue and show respect and move on. No one's telling you to put up with abuse, but you do need to build up that sensitivity muscle and be able to take criticism without letting it destroy your self-worth. Now, last but not least, having a job is also going to teach you about money. Most part-time jobs aren't going to pay you a whole lot, but something is better than nothing. Med school applications and the entire process is very costly, so save that money. But more importantly than having money, is important to get educated about money as well. Learning how to budget, save, and a general understanding of taxes and investing is very important. This is all boring stuff, but it's going to save you a lot of pain in the long run. Medical students and doctors are known for being terrible with their money because they're given access to a large sum through their loans and their first ever salaries without ever really learning how to handle money before. Whatever you do, don't fall into the trap of "I'll pay it off someday" mentality and just use up your loan on useless things because you're going to regret it down the road. Try and read some financial books if you can to wrap your head around how money works and how to best utilize it. So that way when you start making doctor money, you know what to do with it rather than just wasting it. So guys, these are the reasons we feel that you should get a job during college or high school or whatever stage you're at. As always, feel free to reach out to us if you have anything to share or tell us what you want to hear about next.